Hello everybody, just wanted to make a quick video. Today's topic is plagiarism. What is it and why is it bad? Alright, so first of all, we're going to take a look at a definition of plagiarism. To plagiarize, plagiarizing. Definition, to steal or pass off the ideas or words of another as one's own. Okay. Use another product without crediting the source. All right. To commit literary theft, present as new and original an idea or product derived from an existing source. Okay, so where did I get that? So I quoted this. So I have quotation marks there at the top, right here. So this is the beginning of my copy. So I copied this. I was at a web page. I highlighted the words that I wanted to copy, and when I pasted it, I put a opening and a close quote from the words that I used from someone else's source. Okay, so whenever you are copy pasting from one subject to another, always use quotation marks. That shows that you copied it from somebody else's, someone else's words. Where did I get it? Here's where I got it from. Merriam-Webster Dictionary, so merriam-webster.com, and dictionary plagiarize. Okay, so when I cite this work, what I do is use a citation. There's different types, but I use the APA citation method. So here is what I would put in the source document at the very end, right? The reference page or citation index, whatever you want to call it. There's multiple different terms that you can use that are still applicable. So definition of plagiarize, it was last updated in 2020. It's an older document, but that's the date that they have on the website. So that is what I used. There is no specific date that it was published, so I don't put that. Okay. Dictionary of Merriam-Webster, America's Most Trusted Online, yada yada. Okay. So there is my source. Okay. There are different citation styles. Okay, so yet again, I went to the internet. I found a website that I liked that had the information I needed. I copied it and I pasted it. So when I did that, I put a quotation mark at the beginning and at the end of what I copied. That way everybody knows that I copied this from somewhere else. It's not my original thinking, it is someone else's work. So when I have someone else's work, I need to tell everybody where I got that from. Okay, so here's where I got it from. Okay, pitlibguides.com citation help. Okay, so Pittsburgh. So a college over in Pittsburgh put this out. It says there's many different ways of citing sources. Okay, remember, whenever you are copying someone else's work or thoughts, ideas, you need to say who you got it from. Okay, citation style sometimes depends on what discipline is involved. So you have the APA, the American Psychological Association, you have the MLA, Modern Language Association, and then the Chicago. Okay, so we use at Loma Linda APA, used by Education, Psychology, and Sciences. So we are in, at Loma Linda, a science field, and we're in the educational setting. Okay, so APA. So citation that I caught, where I got this from, the citation would look like this in the APA. Okay, you can look at that. Okay, so at Loma Linda, we use the APA style for all courses. Currently, the APA manual is on the 7th edition. It was the 6th edition last year, but they just published the 7th, so we've upgraded to use all 7th edition styles. Okay. Now, there's different ways to use or to put the citation in proper context, right? So you can use a citation generator just like this. Okay. You can use the APA manual itself, 7th edition. You can also use EndNote as a program, and it will help generate the quotation or the citation for you. Okay. So there's also sample papers out there. Okay. And this is in the APA style, APA 7th edition. And this is where I got the next one from. APA style, APA org, style grammar guidelines. Okay, so this will be a sample paper. So I'm going to pull that up. The new share, just take a moment. Okay, so here's the sample papers. And you can see at the top, that's where I got it from, right here. Sample papers. And I opened up this one. Let me just move this for a second. I have to get to, this is the fun stuff about that. There we go. All right, so here's our sample paper. Okay, so this is student paper. First of all, your title page, you have it numbered. Let me go back over here. I believe you can see my cursor. It's numbered number 1. It has your title. Now for strict APA formatting, you do put your name. However, for all of my courses, I grade all my courses blind. Okay, that means that I don't know who I'm grading, and that eliminates several biases or potential biases of a grader. So if a teacher likes the work of one particular student, they might overlook some errors in that paper if they know who that person is. Okay, you can't do that if you're grading blindly, and that's the best practice. So I'm going to grade all mine blindly. So on my papers for APA, you would not put in your name. You would leave that part blank, but you can put on everything else. Okay. So let's get into the main part of the text here. So you have a centered and bold paper title at the top, and it is, of course, still numbered, number 2. And then you go through, there's a group author. This is how you would do a group author. So you go American Psychological Association, comma, and then the year it was printed. Okay, so this is not a direct quote, it is an idea from them. Okay, so there's no quotation marks here, but you took this idea from somebody else, so you cite that. Okay, parenthetical citation, 2 authors. So here, this part was by 2 different authors, so you put in that and the year. Italics, so not often used in the papers that I see, and that's quite all right. You don't have to use this, but if you do, you are highlighting a key term. Okay, and that's guided imagery is highlighted, and it is not not necessary. You can use it or not. Okay, but you have different ones here. There's another example of a dual author, comma, year it was published. This one is another citation with one author. You have the author's name, comma, and year published. Okay. Repeated citations, you can take a look at that. Use of first person. In older editions, the first person was avoided, but here you can use first person. It's not the author provided overviews. You can now say, I provided overviews. Okay, so first person is perfectly fine. Okay, we're going to go to the next area. Here's another major break, right? So you have one theme that you talked about. Now you're going to another one. So you put in a primary heading, level 1 heading. And then this heading has multiple subsets in it, right? So now we are going to use a level 2 heading. So it's over on the side, justified on the left side. Right? Justified means it's centered over onto the left. Right justified would be that it's so centered on your right side. Okay, so level 1 headings are in the center, and level 2 is on the left justified margin. Notice that the paragraphs are indented. So I'm going to scroll down here. Here's the next major group here. Again, it's level 2 because it's the same topic, but it is another section of that main topic. Okay. A lettered list. So you have things that you want to highlight that there's a group of things. So here you say A, B, and C, correct? So A, and then it tells what it is, then B down here, and it tells what it is. Okay, so that's a lettered list. All right. So here is someone that copy pasted, right? So you have a direct quote from someone else. So you have an entry and opening and closing quotations, followed by directly after where they got it from. So the person's name, the comma, year it was published, comma, and the page number. So here they've been talking about this author, and they say, for example, these authors. Okay, so you don't say this author and then put the author's name in the citation right afterwards. You've already said their name, so you don't have to put the names again in a comma. You just put the year. Okay, so that's repetitive narrative. That's called a narrative citation. So here you are doing the same work, right? So the same authors. So it's basically you are continuing with the same thought. So you don't need the year on this one. I know there's lots of different rules. They have a whole book on this, several hundred pages, but I'm highlighting the stuff that's the most often used in our setting. So remember, it's easy to copy and paste something. Okay, whenever you do that, all you have to do is put a open quotes on, paste it, close quotes, and then you tell where you got it from. Okay, so pretty straightforward, and it keeps you out of trouble. Most institutions, if you are caught plagiarizing, you are kicked out of whatever program you are attending. Okay, so it's pretty serious, stealing someone else's work and claiming that it is your own. Okay, so here's a citation for multiple authors. So they put the first author, then et al. Et al. Means it's Latin for and everybody else, right? And everyone else. Citations et al. 3 or more authors. So here's a level heading 1 again, progressive muscle relaxation. Okay, it's again centered, bolded. Here it is another left justified, left margin justified header, level 2 header, primary or secondary source. So when you find a quotation from a book and they're quoting someone else and you want to put it into your work, okay, so that's a secondary source. And you don't have the primary source readily available, so you use the source that you found. So in this example, Joseph Wolf had quoted Peterson et al. Or actually, Peterson et al. Cited Wolf. Okay, Wolf. So that is a secondary source. Okay, and here is a narrative citation. You don't always have to say, you don't always have to put it in as a in the brackets here. You can put it in directly. So you essentially say that this is the year and these are the authors. Okay, so you wouldn't want to put in again right after you just stated it. You don't want to say that they stated again, right? That's not necessary. Okay. Here's for more information. You can use this one. See these people here for more. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Long paraphrase. Here's what you do for that. Time abbreviation. You can do that here instead of having to write the whole thing out. Block quotations. Here's an example of a block quotation. And of course, you can pause this at any time or look it up on your source document that I showed you to read the whole thing. Okay, narrative citation here, another level 1, conclusion. So I'm going to skip down here, level 2 heading, personal communication. So if you're talking to, say, me as the professor, and I say that, quote, that I tell you some information, if you put that in your paper, what you do is you put my name, comma, personal communication, comma, and the date it happened. So that is how you do a personal communication reference. All right, so I'm going to skip on down here. Now here's references. They are in alphabetical order. You have the first line is justified with your left margin. If there is any secondary lines, second or third lines, for example here's line number 2 and line number 3, those are indented. Okay, and again, they are all alphabetical according to the first author. Okay, so we'll skip on down. Multiple authors. Here's a YouTube video, so you can do a YouTube video. For every type of situation where you can glean information from. So you're grabbing this information from one source and you're bringing it into your work to submit to your teacher or your instructor. There's all different types of ways to do that, and the manual goes over every single one of them. Okay, so here, blog post, short URL, conferences, edited book. So there's all types of different ones, and if you look at the manual, it'll show you each type. Or you can use a credible APA citation generator, and it will help you generate everything that you see here. Okay, because it is very specific. I think sometimes it goes over the top, but it is what it is. We have to go by this manual because this is our accepted standard that we want to use. So you have to put the last name, comma, initials, initial period, comma, next person, same thing, comma, period, another comma, the year it was done, period, the name of the piece, and so on. Okay, where'd you get it from? Here, and the page numbers and the website that it was displayed on, if it is a digital reference. Okay. Of course, if it is a verbal conversation, you wouldn't need that because it wouldn't be applicable, right? So you can see all these sorts. You can, of course, pause this and take a look and get that from this lecture, or you can, of course, download it yourself. Okay, and I believe that is it. All right, so there's also, let's go back. Here is the citation generator. Okay, so you can see where I put that in. It's also on the first part. It says web page, book, journal, or other. So you can put in whatever. Let's look at that. So it says social media, web image, etc. Okay, so it has all these different ones. Web page being the most popular, they have it first, then the books or journals. So you have your textbook. If you don't have that from your syllabus that the instructor did, you can go here, type it in. So here I put web page and I put in the page that I got it from. Okay, then you will put in the author's first name if you can find it, the date published. This one was published, updated July 17, 2020. So I put that there. It was probably an older, but this is the date that they put on, right? So they would have that information available, and every time it's updated, they put a new date on, and that's the published date or the updated date, and that's the date you put down. Okay, then it pulls from electronically the title of the page, the website, right? University of Pittsburgh, the URL, and then it gives you down here the citation. So you copy and paste that into your references page. Okay, so it's just as simple as that. So make sure that you do use citations, both in the work and a reference page, if you are copying works from someone else. We want to credit the people that generated the work for their work instead of saying that it is my work. So it's another thing that's important is when you are copying, if all you do is to answer a question, you find someone else's work, you copy, you do a control C and a control V to paste it into the answer, and then you move on to the next one. It's harder to retain that information in long-term memory if you just copy and paste it from someone else's work. You're not internalizing it, you're not thinking about what the answer actually says, and you are usually unable to retain that past a short-term memory because you didn't internalize it. You didn't say, well, what does that mean? And how does that impact the question, right? So if you have to put it into your own words, then you are analyzing what the author said. You are internalizing that, then you're not just parroting it back, you are actually synthesizing and analyzing and digesting the work, and that helps put that into long-term memory. And of course, in the science fields, especially the medical fields, anything in healthcare, you want to retain that information in case of an emergency. So if you are talking about anything in medicine, something can go bad with your patient, and you want to have a lot of your information that you're studying in your long-term memory so you can access it when you need to. Okay, if you just do a copy paste, that information might or might not be logged into your long-term memory, and most likely not retained very, very long because you didn't spend very much time dwelling on the answer to the question. You just found the answer and moved on using someone else's words. So I sort of discourage the long quotations. If there's any available way to put it into your own words, it does help you retain it for longer. Okay. And again, most institutions, if you're caught stealing, you are dismissed from the program. And here you are stealing someone's intellectual property, right? If it's their thoughts, um, you took it from them. Okay, so we want to make sure that that we don't steal from other people intellectual. Okay, all right. So I hope that that helps, and we will talk to you later.